Hey Josh, good to see you.
Hey, Saurav, how you doing, buddy?
Good. I heard that we have a really important topic to talk through about. So let me start by asking you a quick question.
Okay.
I heard that you got a really important email from Atlassian recently. Um, Obviously, if it's important, you want to make sure that everyone has seen it. So, tell us how you got it, and I'm sure they took all the diligence to make sure all their users get to see and respond to it.
Yeah, sure. So typically, when I send out an email that I want everyone to see, I send it to them as they're winding down their day and driving home.
Mm.
So that's what happened here. I'll share my screen and I'll show you what we got from Atlassian. Um, this email we got it's upcoming changes to Atlassian's legal terms. And basically what it says is that they're writing to I'll just read it from the start. Hello, we are writing to inform you that we are updating our legal terms, which apply to all Atlas and Cloud customers effective August 17th, 2026. As part of this change, we are updating how Atlassian may use customer metadata and in-app data to improve apps and AI experience for all customers. This change currently impacts customers with an active plan or trial of Jira, Confluence, and Jira Service Management. As of July 10th, 2026, our records indicate that you do not currently have an active plan or trial of Jira. We use Rezolve. Um, Therefore, there is no impact or change to how Atlassian uses the data in your Atlassian apps at this time. Good to know. To learn more, you can review the updated terms on our legal site. If you have any questions, please contact customer support or your Atlassian representative. You may also refer to our website to learn more about cancellation if you choose not to accept these updated terms. So, had I had a subscription, it would have been really convenient for me to cancel it with, I guess, a click of a button and no real consideration for where I'm going to go or how I'm going to move on my data.
Interesting. So 5 o'clock on a Tuesday sounds like the perfect time to send out an important communication to all your customers. So tell me, normally I get a lot of these emails, and half the time I don't pay attention. So, what made you click and go read this, and what did you find? More importantly, what was it that you discovered when you actually started to read and dig into this?
So funny enough, typically I don't ever check my email at all. I mean, look at my inbox.
Yeah, I
There's
know. I
a,
probably have sent you 100, and I'm not sure you've read any of them.
yeah, I think I've got all yours directed to a folder somewhere, so I don't have to see them. Obviously kidding, but I don't know what made me check this email. I think I probably got a notification on my phone. I saw that we had someone who is in our kind of area updating their legal terms, and I thought it'd be interesting to see what it was. Um, and this was that. Now, to be fair, we are not Atlassian customers at this time. I do understand that Atlassian, for people that are currently clients, has done some webinars around the changes, announced this back in early April, and there was some big news around that. So our experience as not being Atlassian customers could entirely fairly be completely different, and probably was different from people that are Atlassian customers. I'm sure they did the diligence to ensure that people were aware of this better. But so yeah, I think it was just research on what was going on in the industry. And so the first thing I did was clicked this link here to the legal terms. You get, as a reminder, updated legal terms go into effect on August 2017. It's kind of hard to find out what those terms were, right? There's no like link to see exactly what that was. Maybe I'm missing it. Saurabh, do you see anything here that would tell you exactly what is changing?
No, man. I used to work in the banking industry, and I'll tell you, regulators, if you wanted to put something out there, you put it in like big font, like 18% interest rate or whatever your credit card's going to charge you. So,
Yeah. So let's see. Let's see if we can find where these changes are. Let's go back to the email. Maybe that's not the best link. So the legal terms have changed. Here's you can go sort through it if you want to figure out what exactly has changed. I can't tell you what's changed based off this page. Let's see, under the FAQ, how do I provide legal notices? Where can I find more information about Allison? Do they have a code of conduct? Updates, form linked here. Subscribe, so you can subscribe. Let's see what this is. So as part of this change, we're updating Allison. May use customer metadata and in-app data. Let's see what this one holds. Okay, so here we go. This is actually a good link. It says this is. I wish this would have been the first link in that email because I probably would have spent time searching through this one. So now it's going to get into what types of data does my organization contribute, and it's going to say outright your Atlassian organization contributes metadata and in-app data based on your data contribution settings. You can click into this. You can read further on the page to see what metadata and in-app data include, how we safeguard your data contributions, how your data contributions improve. And this kind of tells you what the metadata is, what the common patterns are, what in-app data is, how they retain it and contribute it. So I guess you could find that here on this page, Saurabh.
Interesting. So took some digging, took some investigations to get here. So what was your big aha? What did you find that made you truly like, hey, this is big, this is huge, we should talk about it, right? By the way, to add to your disclosure, we were actually using Atlassian and Jira and till pretty recently, so we're very familiar with the product. We only recently migrated off on our engineering side to start using our own product, which we're very happy with. But so, what was the big find? What was it that really got you?
Yeah, so I think let me go over what metadata is because that kind of doesn't it's not necessarily as I guess forthcoming as it may sound. So the first thing is in the attributes, what they're going to remove is they're going to ensure it doesn't contain information that reveals health, location, workforce, or financial data. So PII related stuff. And it doesn't reveal information that identifies an individual because they are de-identified and aggregated before use. So I think it's important to get into what that means. So de-identified and aggregated doesn't mean that if you're planning a big release or have some proprietary information, maybe some documentation and code of that nature, it doesn't mean that they're not going to use that information. Now, to be fair, that's more in-app data, what I'm describing there. But they're basically redacting health, location, workforce, financial data, and personal identifying information. Now, I can think of a lot of things that don't fall into that pattern that we at Rezolve wouldn't necessarily like AI trained on. We spend a lot of time to do our own research and development, to come up with our own unique solutions to things that I don't necessarily want in an AI. And we can get into some of the examples that it is. So readability score, the complexity of the Confluence page content, task classifications assigned, semantic similarity scores, how similar two Confluence pages are, numbers into Atlassian, created fields in app, things like that. So what else? I don't remember where I saw this at, so I may have trouble actually pointing this out. Here we go. So your Rovo prompts. Rovo, so it's going to say that they're going to select features that instead of do you have help, do you need help with anything, Rovo might suggest, shall I create a work item for this? So they're going to use it to improve the Rovo experience, but they're using, my understanding is that they will actually use your Rovo prompts and responses to help train. I'll see if I can track that down to make sure that I'm being accurate on that disclaimer. That's coming from my memory, not from anything here. So I think the big real aha moment, Saurabh, came from this data contribution settings page that is another click deep. And so I can talk about that a little bit. Saurabh, I've been talking a lot. Do you have anything to say here?
Yeah. So let's maybe, in the interest of time, let's give people. So I'll debrief kind of what I heard from you say, that your metadata, your company's metadata, and some of the content of what you're doing, anonymized and aggregated, will be used to improve the AI or other parts of the product within Atlassian's offering, right? That's the punchline that I'm hearing. Now, I'm not an expert in this. You're not an expert in this. I'm sure there's people who will interpret this and analyze this more legally and technically. But generally speaking, in my past life, I used to run technology organization. If anything had even a remote chance of taking your data and using it outside the enterprise, that would be a big deal, right? And as a vendor, I will tell you, we go through and could not be more black and white in the fact that no client data ever gets used to train models, to improve models, to fine tune anything. None of that, right? And I think that line cannot be gray, if you ask me. It has to be super black and white. Either you're using the client's data or you're not. Like, we can soften it by saying it's anonymized or aggregated or whatever, but at the end of the day, the corpus of information that a company or a client wants to keep private may leave the organization in some form or the other. By the way, this is not the only incident. Seems to be a pattern here. I recently, HubSpot had a similar change to enrich data. There's been reports of X uploading code to train its model, right? It seems like people are trying to leverage data to build more capability or defensive moats in the product, which is probably great for the vendor, but not so good for the client. So, that would be my opinion and opinionated take on this. Maybe to give people something actionable, because I'm not sure if I was still using Atlassian, I would turn this off right away if I could. So, could you help our audience get a sense of what they can do to opt out of it, or choose to not share their data if they did not want to?
Yeah, sure. So, and we skipped a big part of the, and I'll be brief because I know we wanted to keep this brief. We just talked about the metadata. There's in-app data contribution on too, and
Hmm.
that is for sure the content of your Confluence pages. The other things that could be in there would be like information from a ticket, any apps that are in there. That is defaulted to on. So if you've got Confluence and knowledge articles that you don't necessarily want AI trained on, you have to go turn that off. And so if you don't
Wow.
take action by August 17th, that's what's going to happen. Your data will be trained on. It's an opt out, not an opt in. So back to your original question is, how do I turn this off? For metadata contribution, uh, unless you have an enterprise level agreement, you cannot turn it off. So if you've got a premium plan, you cannot change the setting. If you've got a free or standard plan, you cannot change this setting. The only way that you
Wow.
can change that metadata contribution is with an enterprise level agreement or plan with them, which is really important. Now, to be fair, the in-app data contribution is that you can turn it off, right? And premium, it's defaulted to off for in-app data contribution. Enterprise is defaulted to off. If you're on a standard plan or a free plan, it's defaulted to on, and you have to go turn that off. So yeah, there's certain plans where you may not have an option to contribute your data under a premium or standard plan.
Wow. So let me just make sure I heard this correctly, because I'm still somewhat in denial. Because I, yeah, so you're saying if I am not on an enterprise plan, there's no way I can opt out of sharing my metadata, right? That just is like the metadata still goes in there. If I am on an enterprise plan, I can still, maybe opt out of it. But as far as in-app data, I have a little bit more control. And even so, I have to opt out. So for anyone listening to this, August 17th, make sure you go check in those settings and opt out. If you don't want your data leaving your organization. If you want to opt out of your metadata not also being used, you have to contact Atlassian to try to get on an enterprise plan, which may or may not be economically feasible for depending on the scale of your organization and so on. So
Just let me ask you a quick question, Sorb. What's Rezolve's posture on training AI models on our customers' data?
Rezolve's posture could not be any more clear or any more cut and dry on this. We will never, ever, never, ever, ever use a customer's data or metadata or anything even resembling a client data in any of our models, any of our architecture, any of our tuning, any of our improvement. That just is not something you do in a business to business context. It's an absolute red line in my opinion that we will never cross.
I agree with you, Sorb. I think you can get a lot accomplished without using that kind of data. I wouldn't say I'm not even sure. I've been on customer calls, client calls, and this is a red line for many people. I'm interested to see how this goes.
Yeah, let's hope this is a trend that does not become a trend. Right? We already had several companies that have had to adjust this. So we hope these enterprise vendors listen to what the market and clients are trying to tell them and do the right thing. Well, thank you, Josh, for flagging this for everyone and bringing this to everyone's attention. Important detail shared on a midweek, late evening update buried in the second link in the email with not a lot of detail is not how I would share something like this, but that's how it is, and I'm glad you brought it to everyone's attention.
Yeah, it looks like they're tracking my click too, so that's interesting.
You're blacklisted now, man.